Hi and welcome to Math 24/7. This is a 7th grade lesson, Plane Geometry and Similarity. Lesson 4, Triangles and Trapezoids. Here we go. Let me pull this up a little bit so you can see that all. So today's lesson is triangles and trapezoids, the area of them. So far we've done circles, area, and circumference. We have also done rectangles and parallelograms, and today we're going to talk about triangles and trapezoids. So let's first start with the area of triangles. We have a parallelogram in front of us. So two triangles are formed when a parallelogram, which is what we have right here, parallelogram, is cut in half. So we cut this in half, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half so you can see. We now have two triangles, one here, and we have one here. So therefore, the formula for the area of a triangle is, since we know the area is 1/2 of base times height. So that is the area. You also might see it written in and I personally like this one a little bit easier. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Take your base times your height and divide it by 2. Because remember, multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2, same thing. I just think it keeps it simpler, but both formulas do exactly the same thing, mean exactly the same thing, but they look just a little bit different. And just like we learned in a parallelogram, the height will form a 90-degree angle. If it does not form that 90-degree angle, that is not the height. So just be very careful of that. So here's a couple of examples so that we can try out our new formula, which remember is this one. So area equals base times height divided by 2. I'm just going to go in and write it on both of these so we have it. So now we're going to plug in what we have. So bear with me a little bit because there's not a whole lot of room, but area equals the base is 14 and the height is 16. And then we divide the whole thing by 2. So what I do want to tell you is, yes, this is the base. Yes, this is the height. If you don't put them in exactly the right order, remember the property of multiplication is it doesn't matter which order you multiply, you'll still get the same answer. So now we do 14 times 16 first, then we divide it by 2, and we end up with 112 inches squared. Off to the side here, if you can see it. We now have another triangle where the base is 3.5. The height is 2 because it forms a right angle. Let's plug in our values. 2 times 3.5 divided by 2, and that's our area. Okay, if you multiply 2 times 3.5, then divide it by 2, which you could cancel those out, save yourself some time. But if you can't see that right away, just do the multiplication and division. It's 3.5 meters squared. Now, area of a trapezoid. A trapezoid is a little bit different than a parallelogram. So a trapezoid is one or two triangles and a rectangle combined. So if you look at this shape right here, if we put a line right down here, it looks like one rectangle and one triangle. If we go down and look at this one, here's a triangle, but if I go like this, here's another triangle. So this is what they mean by trapezoids are made up of either 2 or 1 triangle and a rectangle. Let me just erase these, clean this up. And the difference between a trapezoid and a parallelogram is it has only one set of parallel lines. These two are not parallel. Remember, parallel means they can go on forever and they will never ever touch. They're exactly the same distance away from each other. These two, if we extended them far enough, eventually they would meet where this one's on an angle and this one is straight up and down. Okay, so one set of parallel lines is a trapezoid. So to find the area, we're going to use the formula And there's two ways to write this, and I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. I think it's easier if we do it this. It is the height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. And you may also, I'm going to write it down here, might see it say 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. They are exactly the same thing. I like this one. I feel like it's a lot easier for students and people to follow because you add these two in the middle, multiply by the height, and then divide by 2. I feel people are kind of get nervous when they see a fraction. They don't really know what to do with it. So again, feel free. These mean exactly the same thing. They're just two different forms that we've manipulated. All right, so base 1 is the first or the top base, and I'll show you right here. So this could be base 1, okay? It's on the top. The second one we call the second base is on the bottom, or the bottom base. This is B2. But I'm also going to tell you that B1 and B2, don't worry if you mix them up because addition has the same property of multiplication. It doesn't matter the order. Just add them together first. Then you multiply by the height. Then you divide by 2. Which leads me to this note where h is the height. And in this case, you'll notice the height also has to form a 90-degree angle in order for this to be the height. This side is not height because it's at, and that says height. Sorry, you can't really read that. That is at an angle, and that does not form a 90-degree angle here. So that is not the height. So in going down to number 3, we're going to use the formula. Area equals the height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. So now we're going to plug in our values. The height is 4. 4 times base 1 is 7. Base 2 is 12. But again, if you add them up in your head, it doesn't matter which order. And then we're going to divide the whole thing by 2. So 4 times 7 plus 12, which is 19. 19 times 4 divided by 2. We do that on our calculator. It is 38 inches squared. And we're using inches because that's what it says over there. Stop this video and rewind it if you need to. Here we go. We have 3 more examples, 1 trapezoid and 2 triangles. Trapezoid, again, they have given us a whole lot more information than they need, but remember what we learned. So, formula is area equals the height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. It really is, and I can't stress this enough, really important to write the formula first so you can see what you have to put in place of. So the height, right angle, is 4.2. So we have 4.2 times base 1 is 6.4, base 2, 7.6. Then we're going to divide the whole thing by 2. And 6 plus 4 plus 7.6 times 4.2 divided by 2 is 29.4, and it is centimeters squared. In this next one, it can get a little tricky trying to figure out which one's the base, because we know the height pretty good is here, but I want to tell you the base is always wherever this 90 degree angle comes across. So area equals base times height divided by 2. The base is 3.2 in this case, and the height is 2.8. If this was going to be the base, you'd have to find the height here, and you'd have to use this number, but we don't have that, so we know this has to be the base. All right, we multiply that out, and we get 4.48 centimeters squared. Okay. Same thing over here. Here's 90 degree angle. So base times height divided by 2. So we have 12 times 12, base and height. 12 times 12 divided by 2. And it is 144 divided by 2, which is 72. And this is feet squared. Don't forget your inches. Your units. Whoops, too far. All right, so now sometimes you have the area, but you're missing either the base or the height. And now I'm going to show you how to find those. So you're going to start with the same formula. Area equals base times height. Let's read the question now. A flag banner was created out of scrapbook paper. 8 flags were used to create the banner, which has a total of 108 inches squared. What is the height of the flag? So we don't have the height, but we have the base, and we have the area. So 108. Oops, hold on, I made a mistake. 108 is equal to, we know what the base is 9, we don't know what the height is. So now we have a one-step equation. So let's just divide both sides by that. H is equal to 108 divided by 9, which is 3. And so this side is 3 inches, right over here. Now let's do this. This is a trapezoid, so area equals height times base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. Okay, in this case we have the area of 105. We have base 1. We have base 2 because we know that this and this. So height we don't know. We're still looking for it, x. Base 1 is 12. Base 2 is 16. 12 and 4 more. So this whole side is 16. We're going to divide it by 2. Remember, this is not the height. This would be the height, which is the same as this, and we're missing it. So now we have, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. We have 105 equals 28h. All I've done is add 12 and 16 divided by 2. All right, so this is a two-step equation. I'm going to extend our page. This is a two-step equation now. We have to get rid of the 2 before we can get rid of the 28 next to. So the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. Remember, those will cancel out. And 2 times 105 is 210. So now we had our one-step equation. To get the h by itself, the opposite of multiplying by 28 is to divide. And whatever we do to one side, we must do it to the other. And 210 divided by 28 is 7.5. And in this case, we are dealing with centimeters. And last problem here. Small tiles are used to create a mosaic art piece with a total area of 1,584. We're going to use the trapezoid below to determine whether each statement is true. Take a minute if you want, pause it and see if you can guess before we go through it. I'm just going to go through each one of these. So the area of one tile can be found using 1/2 times 16 plus 8 plus times 11.5. Well, base and base are 16, so that's base and base. And then we know this has to be the height. So the question is, this is false because the height is actually 11, not 11.7. And now I'm going to multiply and do this out. 16 plus 8 is 24 times 11, and you divide that by 2. It does equal 132. And in the last case, I'm going to take, this one is also going to be false, because when I take 1,584 and I divide it by the 132, which is the area of each, it actually comes out to 12 tiles, not 15. And that is the end of the lesson. If you need any help, go ahead and see me. Or Mrs. Ritchie or Mrs. Lane or whoever you can find. If not, you may go on to your homework. And remember, stop, rewind, whatever you need to do. Have a great day and move on to your homework.